Hello, welcome back to the channel where things are looking very different this week on the farmyard garden, because a couple of days of heavy frost overnight has seen larger areas of the garden turn into a mushy mess. And I guess that's not a bad thing, it's going to happen anyway, but at least it gives me a visible list of jobs that I need to tackle. And the first thing I'm tackling is the ochre foliage here. I'm hoping it'll chop, although it might be a bit mushy to chop, but I also don't want to be pulling any tubers out of the ground. They are not ready to harvest yet, although I can see a couple that are right at the surface. After the frost has taken the ochre foliage, you wait a good couple of weeks and then they should be ready. In actual fact, because this is such a mushy mess and I can't seem to pull it out very easily without pulling some ochre up, like that. There you go. There's a couple of ochre tubers. Such vibrant colours. I don't want to pull any more. What I'm actually going to do is just pick the rest of it up, pile it on top of the beds for now, and hope that the majority of these tubers will stay in there for another few weeks, because there's definitely some pretty close to the surface. But I will be taking that one in the house to eat because I love them. In fact, I'm just going to put some of these leaves that have ended up down the side of the bed here on top of them, just to keep them covered and protected a little bit, because I don't think the ochre tubers themselves are going to fare very well in the frost either. There you go, that's a little bit of protection, and I'll leave those for another few weeks. Definitely something that I harvest for Christmas dinner anyway. This calendula here is definitely done for as well. Now, one thing I am kicking myself for though is I completely forgot the rest of the yin yang beans. In fact, in my defence, not that it is much of a defence, we were forecast -1.2 for frost, and we ended up with -6.3 in the polytunnel. So we had a pretty harsh frost, and ever likely things have succumbed to it that I wasn't quite expecting to be quite so harshly affected, because we've had a few bits of minor frost so far this year and things stood for it, but I guess the soil temperature was warmer then as well. So these have definitely turned to mush. Just taking them out now, because obviously as rodents and things get hungrier over winter, I don't want them to come eating the pods and just encourage them to have a rummage around the vegetable garden. Now, this bed here is a prime example of what I was talking about on So Chatty on Wednesday regarding dig versus no dig, and how I like to think that I practice a majority of no dig on the garden, but when it comes to weeds, I do quite like to dig them out. I think ultimately it's going to save me more work, especially things like docks and plantain. But you can see, now I've just dug at that bit, that this is the sort of clay type soil that's underneath the bed. It does crumble up, but I do like to add the mulch on top as well, to give me something nice and pliable to plant into and rely on the roots of the plants to be able to get down into the clay pan below. But I am lucky. Obviously, I have access to a lot of organic matter that I can just put on top to help me out as well. feel like everywhere I look at the moment, there's more dead plants to pull out. Now these I'm really excited about, because these are the Northern Light leek heads that I've been saving to hope that they would go to seed. And oh, they smell lovely still. I don't know if you can see that in there, but there is a lot of seeds dropping out of there now. Finally ready to sow again next season. I'm going to cut all these heads off, and then what I'm going to do is take them into the house, let them dry a bit. In fact, I might hang them up in the wash house actually. Let them dry a little bit, then give them a good shake. Oh, dropping out of there. Excellent. Fingers crossed when these have dried out and I have a good look at them, I've got plenty of viable seed for my own leeks for next year. And I did enjoy having the flowers all of this summer as well. Now I've got a fun job to do next, so I'll just finish tidying these away and then I'm going to show you what I've bought. Oh, now this is exciting. Look at this, I've just gone to pull these leeks out and it's got 2 baby leeks growing on the side of it. Huh. So I already have 2 babies before I've sown any seeds. Do you know what? I think I'm going to put them in pots in the greenhouse. Just because they've been exposed all summer, I don't want to put them in with my other leeks and then these end up having allium leaf miner and I infect those. So I'm going to put them in a couple of pots in the greenhouse, grow them on a little bit in there, and then bring them back out, even if I only plant them as flowers to use for seeds again next year. Amazing. This is the huge box of bulbs that I bought while I was out with Kerry a few weeks ago. And these all really need to get planted in the ground. We have had a spell of frosty weather in this last few days, which meant I wouldn't have been able to plant them. So whilst the sun is shining, although we have a lot of rain forecast this week, I thought I need to crack on and get all of these in the ground. Now these look like a heck of a lot of bulbs as well, but there's not that many bulbs here when I start thinking about all of the new spaces that I have this year to be able to plant spring bulbs into. So before I tackle these, we need to get the beds ready to put them in. And the first place to start, I think, is going to be with the dahlia beds. They look so sad now, the frost has had them. They go from looking like they're going to cling on to life for a bit longer to suddenly looking, well, a mushy mess. So I'm planning on leaving these in the ground this year. So what I want to do is clear this bed, get the bulbs in, and then get it heavily mulched to protect these dahlias as best I can over winter. Now I've just been to get a wheelbarrow, and the first thing I'm going to do is pull the canes out. I don't want to be taking my eye out on those. I have no real idea anymore which dahlia is which, because whilst I did label them when they were in the bags when I started them off, I just planted them all out on height order, which seemed to work okay this year, so I'm okay with how they did. The annuals have also succumbed, so I'll take those out. I'm satisfied that that bed is clear, so I need to move my attention to this bed here. They kind of come as a pair, and if I just put the secateurs down, this bed you can see that the nasturtiums have all died back now, turned to a horrible, slimy, mushy mess. So the first job I'm going to do is just pull these out. Oh, it's grim. Now these are penstemons, and I don't know whether you leave them out or not, but they're supposed to be semi-hardy. I'm thinking they won't survive winter, but they've survived the frost so far, so I'm just going to give them a bit of a trim back like that and see what happens. If they don't survive, they don't survive. Now, one thing I am going to do, because it has succumbed a bit to the wind, is take the rose obelisk in over winter. I'm probably going to stain that obelisk and then bring it back out in spring. This wants a heavy prune anyway, so I think it can just fend for itself a little bit over winter. And I'm going to do the big prune in late winter, but I believe that they can have a little prune now, largely because they've all been pruned at the garden centres, which suggests to me that it won't hurt it to take some of these stems down now and try and prevent it blowing about too much in the wind over winter. But when I put the obelisk back on next year, the plan I have is to wrap it around the obelisk spirally so that I get flowers all the way along the stems, whereas at the moment this season, because I let it grow up the obelisk, they've only flowered at the end of the stems. Right, I think we're ready to put some bulbs in the ground. Now, if I come back to this box, the first thing you'll notice is that I have two of these big bags here full of bulbs, and they are daffodil bulbs, and I can't remember the exact varieties that I bought. I think there was a selection in one, and then the others were more of the creamy coloured ones. In fact, I'm pretty certain that all of them are probably more the creamy coloured ones. And I'm trying to leave them. I want to put those around the fruit trees on the new orchard. But I do have some more daffodils, and then I have lots and lots of tulips, and I really particularly like these sets that you can get in the British garden centres, where you get kind of coordinating flower colours all together, which is quite nice. I thought that was a nice idea. More tulips. They're very pretty tulips. I've got some cottage garden collections which I thought would look quite nice. Woodland collection. Honey pot, so these are for bees in particular, and I think I have a couple of those. I've also got some happy, put it the right way up, some happy butterfly varieties, more wild garden collections, and well, basically I've got a lot of planting to do. Now, when you see them all laid out on the table like this, I actually don't think that I've gone overboard on bulbs. Now, what I think I'm going to do is start with the daffodils here and a pack of tulips, and these ones are early flowering ones, so they're both for April, which means I should get some nice early colour in this bed. And you know, as much as I joke about not liking yellow plants, what I do love about daffodils is just how long their flowers stay out for. Whereas tulips, as gorgeous as they can be, they do seem to come and go fairly quickly in comparison. Just put these away so they don't blow away. Gonna plant them in little clumps in between where the dahlia tubers are. Got them laid out. All I need to do is get them in the ground, and I'm going to try using this little mini bulb planter, especially because the soil here is quite soft. I'm thinking this should work, although it doesn't seem to want to push this compost back out. I'm trying to remember to plant them in little clumps, because the first year that I planted them, I did plant a lot of them in a line, and then I had this rather puny line of flowers and not like little clusters. And I think little clusters would look better. So that's what I'm going for this time. I've planted the grand total of 87 bulbs in here, a really weird odd number in the end, and I'm hoping that just giving them a bit of a mulch here, and actually this compost is my compost and it's very claggy because I forgot to put the cover back on it and we've had a lot of rain, so I'm hoping that I can just break it up a little bit and just cover these over. But this is step one in giving them a bit of warmth over winter. And just like you saw me do a couple of videos ago, I am going to use some of this wood chip that's really rotted down underneath the top surface to just finish mulching the dahlia beds with. I'm not going to put it on too thick, I don't want to stop the dahlias from coming back again. But this stuff is pretty much compost now. Chunky compost, but it's really getting there. And that's one bonus about the wood chip paths, I guess. It's like having giant compost bins all over the garden that I can use whenever I need. I'm a little bit worried that this will be like the bulbs have been planted too deep now, so we'll have to see what happens with them. Now I've already decided that this is about the limit of what I'm going to do for dahlias, otherwise I think that they might be too high maintenance for me. So if this doesn't work, if they don't survive winter, then I think what I will do in future is make these probably 2 rose beds instead, and I can just have sort of tea roses in here. I'll still get all of the beautiful colour, and I'll also get some scent, won't I? Because obviously you don't get any scent with dahlias. The sun is starting to set, but one of the last things that I really need to do before I go in is try and keep the squirrels from these beds. So I've got a few of these mesh bits. Hopefully we won't get any wind overnight, and that'll just hold those down for a bit and keep those pesky squirrels off. Before I rake these paths back level, I'm actually going to put some around these patio fruit trees as well. Now I'm actually a little bit worried about this patio fruit tree. This is one of the apple trees which gave me some really good apples this year. But there's a really nasty blemish on the stem lower down, and I don't know what's caused it. So as you can see, there's quite a big chunk out of this part of the trunk. I think this is called the scion, is it? S-C-I-O-N, where the graft is. And, well, I don't know if that's going to cause any issues with it. So I'll have to keep an eye on that. Now, one thing I do like about this wood chip is I noticed as I was digging it up, there's quite a lot of mycelium in it. So hopefully that is going to do wonders for the tree and the bulbs and things that are planted in here as well. Now that I've given those a mulch, all I need to do is just rake this path back together temporarily again, so that no one hurts themselves. By no one I generally mean me. Walking over it until I can relay some paths here. Now there is one more place that I'd like to put some bulbs, and remember those bulbs I said I was going to put around the fruit trees that might not make it? Well, here we are, because I'm going to put them along here. I think I'm going to get the second packet. Because I don't think there was enough. I'm going to get these planted nice and deep, and hope that the squirrels leave these alone and that the manure put on this bed puts them off. As soon as you start planting your spring bulbs, you start getting excited, don't you, for spring and colour. I'm going to carry on going along here, trying to get these planted before it goes too dark, and I'll catch you on the garden tomorrow. It's actually 2 days later because we were forecast a bit of rain earlier in the week, and I knew today was supposed to be sunny this morning, so I thought to myself, hold fire, let's be a fair weather gardener. And why not wait for a good day when the weather is as glorious as it has been forecast for this morning? These are my green manure beds, and they have actually been affected by the frost, some more than others. The oriental mustards aren't looking too bad. The red clover actually is surprisingly really well. I'm not sure why that surprises me, because clover doesn't particularly die in the garden either. Areas of the phacelia are looking a little bit battered, but the peas that were in this bed are looking like they are on their way out now. They're dying back. Now, if you watched So Chatty on Wednesday, dig versus no dig, green manures did come up in the conversation. And I actually said that I didn't know that I would do them again. As much as I'm liking seeing some greenery in these beds over winter, it's the spring chop and drop thing that I don't think I'm quite au fait with, because I don't want to just leave it on the surface of the soil and not cover it, which means if I'm still going to add compost and things to the soil anyway, really I'm just creating work that I don't need to do by putting the green manure in and delaying the process of getting these beds ready for the next planting season. Obviously I have access to real manure anyway, so I'm thinking to myself, is green manure something that is more popular for people that don't have the ability to add actual organic manure matter into their ground anyway? But that said, I've done it. I'm looking forward to seeing if these beds perform any differently. But it looks like it won't be long before a couple of docks that have grown in here will be dug out, and then I will cover this one. Now, if I move back this way through these archways, one thing that I am really surprised about is this bed here around the patio quince tree. None of these summer salad crops have succumbed to -6. Unbelievable. But I am going to harvest a few of those shortly, and I'm also going to harvest a few other bits on the plot that should taste better now we've had a frost. So let's enjoy a bit of a harvest. And I'm going to start here with the beetroot. I've already got a basket here, and I'm hoping that if I reach through into this side, there should be some pretty decent ones. In fact, I'm going to put my proper glove on first. Oh, there's one. That is a nice beetroot. I don't see any slug holes in them yet, because obviously that is a concern now the ground is getting so wet. There's one. These ones were definitely multi-sown. They're all rising out of the ground. Oh, let's see how wet our ground is now. They look great. And I've just seen these bigger ones in the other side, so I've just crawled under a little bit. Look at that. These are good. Oh, that one's a whopper. Wow, that's enormous. I'm trying to get a few decent sized ones because for my birthday recently, Duncan bought me a juicer. And one of the things he wants with this juicer is beetroot juice. So I promised him I'd pick some extras. That's not a bad haul. I've already filled this basket up, so I think what I should do is take some of these leaves off so that I've got more space in the basket, because this is not the only thing we're going to be harvesting right now. Now, if I pop down here, I don't know why I haven't put this other glove on yet. I think it's time to get another swede out as well. And I'm just going to get this one right on the end of the bed here, because this one here is an absolute beauty. Oh, it's a big one too. Wow. Oh, but again, you see how wet it is. Everything is so muddy. Look at that. I'm so pleased with the Swedes this year. Gonna need some good washing off after all this rain. I don't think a winter harvest would be right without some parsnips, but I'm also going to be getting the root parsley, or a few of them, because this is definitely dying back now, and these aren't very big because I never thinned them out. So I'll just try and grab a little handful. Oh, there we go. Oh, one of them's not bad there, look at that. Shake them off a bit. I've got a stubby one and a long thin one, and some very teeny tiny ones. I think there's a fairly big one here. Oh, look at that. Wow, that is like an actual parsnip. Unbelievable. Oh, I'm pleased with that. Oh, it's all knotted in. And the foliage hasn't actually died back in the frost, so it looks like I'll be able to use the foliage as parsley as well. Look, now I'm getting carried away. Oh, there's a few more. I am out of space really here, aren't I? I did not think this through. There you go. So let's move to the main event. There is actually a trowel from when I last tried to harvest some of these. Let's see how this goes. I have high hopes. I have high hopes. Oh my life, the top of this one is enormous. I don't know how I'm gonna get that out of there. Oh, I might have got it. Nope, not yet. Wishful thinking. I don't want to break it, but I'm probably going to break it. Oh, wow. It's a monster, an absolute monster. I can't believe that. The size of the top of it is bigger than the palm of my hands across the top. Unbelievable, unbelievable. Wow, I'm really pleased with that. That's enough to feed the entire family for more than one Sunday dinner, I think. Oh, there's one that's forked. There you go, that balances the enormous, impressive parsnip with some pretty regular ones as well. Right, I don't need any more, else I'm going to have a lot of processing to do. Oh, it's really heavy. Well, then it would be heavy, wouldn't it, when you have a parsnip that big and a Swede of that size as well. What a lovely late autumn, early winter harvest. If you do tune in to So Chatty, you'll know that the first winner of our first ever giveaway was announced on Wednesday, so congratulations to Joanne. But do tune in next Wednesday when we have an exciting announcement to make of an even bigger and better giveaway that will be open internationally as well. That's it for this week on my vlog. I'll see you here next Sunday, and I'll catch you on Wednesday on So Chatty. Look after yourselves. Bye.